This is CBN NewsWatch.
And thank you so much for joining us. It is Memorial Day, Monday, May 25th. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, America's churches and houses of worship reopening across the country following President Donald Trump's warning to governors, and some churches promising they would hold services in spite of state lockdowns. And Americans celebrating Memorial Day, heading to beaches and public places, but not always observing social distancing despite government warnings. Arson against a church. We're going to look at why a church in Mississippi burned down after it opposed local coronavirus lockdowns. And Ravi Zacharias remembered. We're going to tell you about the memorial service plan to honor the life and legacy of this famous defender of the faith. All those stories and more are ahead in this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to begin this half hour with churches and houses of worship gradually emerging from lockdowns this holiday weekend, with many pastors welcoming President Donald Trump's support Friday for declaring houses of worship essential and issuing a warning to the nation's governors.
Allow these very important essential places of faith to open right now for this weekend. If they don't do it, I will override the governors.
We would like to thank our president today.
While some stayed closed out of concern of spreading COVID-19, others took precautions to prevent the possible spread of the virus. Some governors changed their minds on restrictions following the president's warning and after some churches in some states like Minnesota and California threatened to hold services regardless of the state lockdowns. In Minnesota, Governor Tim Walz lifted his 10-person restriction on gatherings, and California Governor Gavin Newsom promised to provide plans today for reopenings. Churches also reopened here in Virginia. Atlantic Shores Baptist Church in Virginia Beach among them. Members and visitors made attendance reservations online to help the church to manage its capacity and gathered in the sanctuary with distance between families to worship together. Pastor Ron Jones tells CBN News the lockdowns have taught us a lot.
We're human beings. We're not machines that you can take and just put in a closet somewhere or park it in the garage and then, get it out later. We were created for community. We were created to connect with one another. People need people. Now, we want to do that safely, and we understand, the crisis that we're in worldwide today, but we are starving for human connection, even beyond our own families. So I think people are excited to be opening up and to be back in their places of worship. Yeah, Hebrews does tell us, don't forsake the assembling of yourselves together. But all the more as you see the day approaching, be there in church. We're going to have to maybe redefine a little bit what gathering means, but there's no replacement for human-to-human contact.
Pastor Jones says he thinks working to resume worship services is a good civics lesson as Christians work to protect their religious liberties and to love their neighbor following the guidelines. Even in the midst of the coronavirus outbreak, America honors its fallen soldiers this Memorial Day. The three-day weekend traditionally marks the beginning of summer. And as the nation emerges from weeks of isolation, many crowds at beaches and boardwalks showed little concern for social distancing. Gary Lane is on this story.
Memorial Day weekend is the traditional start of summer in the United States, and this year's holiday is like no other. With the number of COVID-19 deaths now approaching 100,000 in the U.S., millions of Americans flock to beaches, boardwalks, and theme parks. Relaxed restrictions causing many to ignore social distancing guidelines. Ocean City, Maryland, jam-packed over the weekend, with most visitors strolling the boardwalk without protective masks.
It's really crowded. It's beautiful out. It's fun. Everybody's having fun.
The fun turned into what police described as a gauntlet in Daytona Beach, Florida. A crowd gathering, people grabbing at money thrown from a car sunroof.
This type of behavior is unacceptable. We don't want people coming to our city, disrupting our city.
And along with the relaxed restrictions, at least 8 states are now seeing an increase in new reported COVID-19 cases. White House Coronavirus Response Coordinator Dr. Deborah Birx said the numbers can only start declining if people follow social distancing guidelines.
So you don't know who's infected, and so we really want to be clear all the time that social distancing is absolutely critical. And if you can't social distance and you're outside, you must wear a mask.
In another move to protect the nation, the White House issued travel restrictions on non-Americans who have been to Brazil in the last 14 days after that nation saw a spike in cases. And despite the viral pandemic, a Star-Spangled Memorial Day salute was broadcast Sunday from the nation's capital.
We are here to honor and salute all those who have served in our nation's armed forces and the many that lost their lives in the name of freedom.
A special tribute honoring the 75th anniversary of the end of World War II and surviving members of an African-American military corps.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Tuskegee Airmen.
Americans reminded that the nation has survived many struggles and together will overcome the viral pandemic. Gary Lane, CBN News.
We turn now to Israel for a trial that could last for years. The first step began Sunday when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu appeared in court on corruption charges. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, it's the first time in Israel's history a sitting prime minister has faced charges while in office.
Prime Minister Netanyahu appeared before a three-judge panel who will determine his legal fate. Just before the dramatic court hearing and surrounded by his supporters, Netanyahu accused the police, prosecutors, and the press of trying to depose him.
Citizens of Israel, what's on trial today is the wish to eliminate the will of the people, the attempt to topple me and the right-wing camp. For over a decade, the left did not succeed in doing so in the polls. So in recent years, they came up with a new pattern. Sources at the police and attorney's office joined together with the left-wing newspapers. I call them the Just Not Bibi bunch in order to tailor baseless cases.
He also said during a TV interview he will not accept a plea bargain and wants full transparency. The trial began here at Jerusalem's district court. While his legal fate rests here, his political future is being tried in the court of public opinion, where both detractors and supporters of Netanyahu came out into the streets.
Hopefully, the court is going to make justice.
What they will see is a proud people holding their heads high, standing tall, and saying, "You'll never walk alone, Netanyahu."
In the Knesset, some say it's time to go.
I truly believe the people of Israel will understand it's time to move forward. It's time to say to Netanyahu, thank you, but enough is enough.
Netanyahu faces charges of fraud, breach of trust, and bribery in 3 separate cases called 1000, 2000, and 4000. Case 1000 centers on gifts he received from wealthy friends for political favors. Case 2000 focuses on an alleged deal with an Israeli publisher to receive positive coverage for Netanyahu. And Case 4000 alleges Israel's major telecom assured positive press coverage in exchange for favorable government regulations. The trial came just hours after the new government held its first cabinet meeting. The next court date could be months away, and some legal analysts speculate the trials could take up to 3 years. Until then, Netanyahu will be able to serve in the government. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Still ahead, a church in Mississippi burns to the ground, apparently because it challenged restrictions on social gatherings during the coronavirus outbreak. We're going to take a look at this case when we come back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep as the world watches from the outside.
It's a big diplomatic tug of war here in the Middle East.
Go inside the story with Jerusalem Dateline.
Israeli archaeologists are talking about a discovery that could change the thinking about the Temple Mount.
Join CBN Jerusalem Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell and get the biblical perspective on the events shaping the world.
What starts in Israel then ends up going to other places.
Watch Jerusalem Dateline Friday night at 9:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
Get the top political news and analysis from Washington on Faith Nation, tonight at 6 Eastern, only on the CBN News Channel.
Investigators are trying to uncover who's behind a church fire in Mississippi last week. The case is being investigated as an arson. Mississippi's Governor Tate Reeves condemned the burning. First Pentecostal Church in Holly Springs burned to the ground in what's believed to be retaliation because it challenged the city's restrictions on gatherings during the coronavirus outbreak. Our George Thomas has more on this story from FaithWire.com's Dan Andros.
So, Dan, tell us what happened to this church in Mississippi.
Yeah, well, it's a small First Pentecostal church in Holly Springs, and it was set on fire on Wednesday, and it caused a major explosion that blew up most of the building. Now, authorities quickly determined that this was an arson, which wasn't difficult to do because written on the sidewalk at the church there was the words, "Bet you stay at home now, you hypocrites." The pastor and the congregation are obviously devastated, and they're waiting on the results of a police investigation.
What's the backstory on this church and why it may have been attacked in the first place?
Yeah, well, it goes back to Easter Sunday. They were holding services, and normally they had been conducting them outside. But when there was inclement weather, which there happened to be in their area, on Easter Sunday, they held the service inside. Now, they maintain that they were practicing social distancing while they were inside, but nevertheless, the authorities cited them for violating the social distancing order. And this in spite Governor Reeves having exempted churches as essential business, and they were supposed to be exempt from that order to not gather.
What can you tell us about the lawsuit?
Yeah, and indeed, the church countered with a lawsuit, and basically they claim that the local authorities have usurped and contradicted what the governor laid out in his executive order for gathering, again, citing that the churches were exempted and deemed essential business and should be allowed to continue. And so what this church actually did, though, was they made a display. This isn't the first time they hit the news. They actually went all the way to Walmart with their entire congregation to make the point that you can indeed gather, just not in certain places. So that's how this church was in the news, and that's where the lawsuit is currently at the moment.
Yeah, Dan, any word on perpetrators, the investigation, those who perhaps may have committed this act?
No, the pastor, Jerry Waldrop, he is utterly confused and just says, I have no idea. We have no enemies that we know of here in the community. So the investigation's ongoing. There is a reward out for the capture of the arsonist who would have caused this. And so they still have no leads at the moment that have been made public. Governor Reeves, for his part, chimed in and said he was, quote, heartbroken and furious, end quote, at the arson. And he said that this, pandemic has caused people to act out in really crazy ways. And he said we need prayer for this country. And for his part, Pastor Waldrop has said that he has just been focused on trying to get the church rebuilt.
Yeah, I mean, those images look pretty dramatic. I'm curious, what's next for the church with all that's happening and the fact that they don't have a building now, Dan?
Yeah, well, they are devastated, and indeed, the news reports show the congregation hugging and just crying amidst one another. So they're just banding together as a church, and they're going to have to just figure something out here in the short term as they try and rebuild. But again, the pastor is just asking for prayer, and they're just focused on rebuilding.
Okay, we wish them the very best. Dan, thanks so much for bringing us the story.
Thank you.
For more stories like this, you can catch the latest episode of FaithWire.com's Faith vs. Culture with Dan Andros and Dale Partridge. You can find it on the CBN News Channel this evening at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Still ahead, we're going to tell you about one of the best ways to help your body to fight off diseases like COVID-19 and live a long and healthy life. And it's not that difficult. We have the story for you right after this.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News. Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
One of the best ways to stay healthy is a healthy gut. It can help you to fight off diseases, including COVID-19. It's one of the steps you can take to also live a long and healthy life. CBN medical reporter Lori Johnson brings us the story.
Studies from the United Nations predict the world will have more than 3 million people age 100 or older in just 30 years. That's good news, unless many of that population suffer from declining health.
We base a lot of our behaviors thinking that this is what's going to happen to us. But in fact, that doesn't have to happen.
Expert on aging, Dr. Stephen Gundry knows what it takes to live a vibrant, disease-free life well into old age.
What we know about super old people who are thriving is that they don't become infirm, that they don't get cancer, that they don't get Alzheimer's. These people actually have the physiology, have the workings of a 50-year-old individual.
In his book, The Longevity Paradox, How to Die Young at a Ripe Old Age, Dr. Gundry zeroes in on the things that set healthy centenarians apart from their sicker counterparts. Topping the list, plenty of good bacteria in their intestines.
It's amazing. Again, when we look at 105-year-old people around the world, they carry the diverse gut microbiome of 30-year-old people.
Having enough of the right bacteria can prevent just about every type of disease, including inherited ones.
Whether we turn genes on or off with information, and that's called epigenetics or epigenomics, and it's that interplay with actually a lot of the material that comes from our microbiome telling our genes what to do.
Dr. Gundry says the key is avoiding processed foods because of the chemical ingredients, especially the pesticide glyphosate.
It's probably the biggest health problem that people are unaware of. It's in all of our products, all of our cereals, all of our breads, all of our crackers. A recent study of 35 oat products in the United States found glyphosate, including some very dangerous levels, in every one of the oat products, including many of our kids' cereals, including our granola.
Gundry says glyphosate can wipe out good bacteria and even cause a leaky gut.
You will actually make perforations in the wall of your gut, and bacterial particles and plant compounds and toxins will get right through the wall of your gut.
This can lead to migraines, chronic fatigue, and autoimmune diseases like celiac. In addition to eating right, robust old-timers also go without food altogether for long periods of time. Fasting a minimum of 12 hours a day can trigger the body to eliminate whatever hinders survival.
And so fasting, or intermittent fasting, gives us an opportunity to really get all the best cells all the time. And that's what we all want.
Another common characteristic of healthy centenarians is they take few drugs or none at all. While many people, such as diabetics, take specific medication, Gundry maintains healthier choices can even reverse that need.
I have yet to meet a type 2 diabetic who I can't get off of all medications by teaching them how to eat. I haven't met a person who takes a statin drug to lower cholesterol that I can't get off a statin once I teach them how to eat.
Dr. Gundry adds antibiotics and common painkillers can harm the gut microbiome, with even something like an antacid leading to other problems.
And so I see so many people with dementia and congestive heart failure who've been taking these drugs chronically.
Finally, exercise helps keep bodies working no matter how old a person is. It improves blood flow, particularly to the brain. Women who exercise routinely during their lifespan have a 90% reduction in Alzheimer's compared to women who don't. Muscles strengthen bones, preventing injury. Turns out walking against gravity, whether up or down, is especially good exercise because it works this area of the body, which contains most of our muscle mass. In fact, the 5 cities worldwide with the highest concentration of healthy centenarians are all very hilly. Those cities are in what's known as blue zones. The only one in America is Loma Linda, which means beautiful hill. This California city is not only home to the largest concentration of centenarians in the U.S., but also the largest concentration of Seventh-day Adventists. That denomination avoids processed food and drugs while embracing fasting and exercise. Years ago, Dr. Gundry practiced heart surgery in Loma Linda and was so inspired by the people here that he shifted his focus to teaching the rest of the world how to live strong to a ripe old age. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Coming up, remembering Ravi Zacharias memorial service will be live streamed this weekend to honor the life and legacy of this outstanding evangelist and defender of the faith. We're going to tell you about that when we come back.
Life is better with a good night's sleep. Get your free DVD or booklet of Protect Your Sleep today.
I'm Ephraim Graham, and this is Studio 5. Cruise with me as I discover the good things happening in the world of music, sports, television, and movies.
The fact that Ryan Coogler was going to be directing the film, I knew that something special was going to happen.
We'll chat with artists at the forefront of entertainment and explore the connection between popular culture and faith.
I asked my pastor, I said, well, does that mean I'm supposed to be a preacher? He says, well, no, you already have a pulpit.
Watch Studio 5 Wednesday night at 9:30.
Remember for a moment what it was like to be a child. You believed every story you were told. You saw a world full of endless possibilities. What stories will the world's orphaned and at-risk children believe? We believe the Bible tells the only story truly worth believing. We believe that every child should have the opportunity to dream, the chance to take challenges and turn them into possibilities, the chance to stand on the promises of God, to recognize their place in the greatest story ever told. They have their whole lives ahead of them. Theirs is a world of endless possibilities. They are looking for a story to believe. We will tell them that story. Will you join us?
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Check out the CBN News Daily Rundown podcast each weekday with me, Caitlin Burke. Click on the show tab at cbnnews.com where you can listen and subscribe.
A private memorial service will be live streamed Friday to celebrate the life and legacy of Christian evangelist and defender of the faith, Ravi Zacharias. Zacharias died at age 74 at his home in Atlanta last Tuesday from a rare form of cancer in his spine. He battled the disease with the help of top doctors, but his daughter announced a few weeks prior that his passing that no further medical options were available for him. Zacharias was a prolific author, debater, and academic throughout his life. He founded a global apologetics ministry, Ravi Zacharias International Ministries, back in 1984, and he was widely sought after for decades for his eloquent answers to life's biggest questions. Christian leaders and artists, including Tim Tebow, Lecrae, and more, will pay tribute to Zacharias during that service. Before we say goodbye today, it's time for your Monday motivation. Here's a thought to consider throughout this day and evening. The greatest enemy of faith is not doubt, it's comfort. Faith only gets stronger when you face challenges to exercise it. It's like working out to build that muscle. Get out of that comfort zone, get uncomfortable, and get in the faith zone. With that word, make this a marvelous Monday. That will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. I want to remind you, you can find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel at any time. You can also find them online at cbnnews.com. We'd love to know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. Email us, newswatch@cbn.com. And, of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Have a marvelous Memorial Day. We'll see you tomorrow.